It is May 1968. Students battle riot police in the streets of Paris. This is the background to The Dreamers, the new film by Oscar-winning director Bernardo Bertolucci.
Action!
It's the story of three young people who meet through their passion for cinema.
You don't think that Keaton is funnier than Chaplin?
All the characters are very young, and they're discovering sexuality. And some scenes are quite hard.
And voila. It's an eye-opener.
Nope.
There was sex, rock and roll, and drugs, and now it's politics, cinema, and sex.
Cut, good. Another one like that.
The Dreamers has brought the legendary director face to face with his past.
When I am with these kids, I feel the same age, maybe younger than them. How do you call it? Arrested development. Wait.
Handcuffs. Mark, 7/1, take 3.
At the beginning of The Dreamers, Matthew, a 19-year-old American boy, is approaching the imposing Palais de Chaillot, which houses in its basement the Cinémathèque Française.
The first time I went to Paris, I was 19. And Chaillot, la Cinémathèque, was one of the first places where I went. And I think that in a way, I had the experience of Matthew. A foreigner goes to Paris and is hypnotized by the Cinémathèque Française, which means by cinema. It was considered by me and by the people who were going, not less than a cathedral of cinema.
It was a kind of extraordinary experience. There was really a kind of electricity in the air. There were fights in the lobby, fights against whether Huston or Hawks or Losey or Mankiewicz were the better directors. People really felt as strongly about the cinema as today I think people only feel strongly about sports, about football.
The man behind this passion was the founder and director of the Cinémathèque Française, Henri Langlois, who believed not just in conserving films, but showing everything he could find. It was at the Cinémathèque that a whole generation of cinephiles were nurtured, some of whom in the 1950s went on to write in such influential journals as the Cahiers du Cinéma, and then became the filmmakers known as the New Wave. François Truffaut, Claude Chabrol, and Jean-Luc Godard.
You know, the 60s, when I started to make movies, what I loved was this new cinema, which was born in Paris, which was called La Nouvelle Vague, the New Wave. I liked it so much that I wanted to be one of them. I did my first movie, I was very young, I was 21. I did my first interviews, and immediately I said to the journalist, if you don't mind, I'd like to do the interview in French. I said, why? You are Italian, we are in Rome, why do you want to do the interview in French? And I said, parce que le français, c'est la langue du cinéma.
The French new wave of directors rallied to support their mentor Henri Langlois in February 1968, when the French government, who funded the Cinémathèque, suddenly dismissed its eccentric director for incompetent administration. Messages of support came from filmmakers all over the world. On the 14th of February, 3,000 people turned out at the Palais de Chaillot to protest. Famous faces from French cinema were there. Michel Piccoli, Jean-Paul Belmondo, Alain Resnais, Barbet Schroeder. This event was recreated for The Dreamers.
There was something quite magic in the 60s, and there was a union, something that there isn't anymore. The fact that we were dreaming together, cinema, politics, music, jazz, rock and roll, sex, philosophy. These were the most important thing for me.
Stand by, guys. Stand by.
Anytime, Bernardo.
Motore! Sounds running. 8/5, take 2. Action! Partez!
I always think when I'm doing a movie which is period, that you always end to talk about the present, because what's in front of you is the moment that you are shooting. And I wanted to put together the present and the past.
Coupé! 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 Cut! 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 Joli, l'autre très bien.
To underline this confusion of time, Bertolucci called in two actors who actually gave speeches during the demonstrations that took place, Jean-Pierre Calfon and Jean-Pierre Léaud, once famous as the embodiment of youth in the films of Truffaut and Godard.
Non, j'avais compris, peut-être, je me disais que tu voulais que lui le fasse en français et moi en anglais.
Non, non, non.
Est-ce que je peux le faire en anglais?
Non, 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 non. Moi, je préférais qu'il dise en anglais.
Jean-Pierre Calfon and Jean-Pierre Léaud read a leaflet in '68 at the Cinémathèque Française. So I wanted them today to read the leaflet.
S'il vous plaît! S'il vous plaît! Action, Jean-Pierre!
I wanted a very visual way to put together the present and the past.
Obéissant à une obscure coalition d'intérêts inavouables, le ministre Malraux a fait chasser Henri Langlois de la Cinémathèque Française.
À Chaillot, vous avez pu vérifier ce qu'était une conception libre et juste de la culture cinématographique.
Manifestez votre indignation. Troublez systématiquement les séances de la Cinémathèque Française.
Godard wrote the text that you can hear in the movie, the text that I am saying and that Jean-Pierre Léaud is saying too. And I had to read that in front of the audience with that pressure, and I remember it like a very strong feeling for the moment, you know, it was very vibrating.
Ne vous laissez pas faire! La liberté ne s'en soit pas! Elle se prend!
You see them today, and you see Jean-Pierre Léaud in a newsreel of '68, of that famous day. And you can see the time which has passed.
À révéler son véritable visage!
Tu ne reviens plus. Et à la fin, tu tires. Et à la fin, tu jettes.
Le papier.
Et donc, tu as des tracts. Des tracts et tu les jettes. Tu voles en bas comme ça.
The idea was really what would be the idea of the whole film. We're shooting today and we're dreaming of the '60s.
Lo spirito della
Grazie. Je souhaite de faire un très beau.
Jean-Pierre, très bien. Tu vas... Non, dans 20.
Comment va?
Oui, plus d'espace. Je donnais plus de temps et d'espace.
On that fateful day in February 1968, events took an unexpectedly violent turn.
It was really rather incredible. On the one hand, you had these kind of nerdy characters who were the film buffs holding up banners that said "Film pas flic," films not cops. And suddenly there were these robots, these guys with their masks and their truncheons and their riot guns and their stun weaponry or whatever, and they suddenly charged. Not only was I chased by the police and my fellow film buffs, but Truffaut was beaten over the head and his forehead was bloodied, and Godard was pushed around, and these were, you know, prominent personalities in French culture.
Garde. Patrick, ne bouge pas.
Although the police charge actually happened in the streets, Bertolucci decided to stage the event in the gardens of Chaillot.
Ne regardez pas dans la foule, vous parlez entre vous, et vous pouvez parler fort au début. Merci.
Action, action!
Là, c'est un peu faible, là. Ouais. Lui c'est pas un cascadeur. Ah ouais. Et il nous cache en plus. Ouais.
Ho capito, non si muove nessuno, però...
Pas mal, mais au début, je voulais un peu plus de temps. Ils peuvent le faire sur place. Et après, ils vont partir. Sinon, il y a un temps.
On le fait juste.
Ils doivent être un peu plus agressifs. C'est pas assez agressif.
Merci. Donc reprenez vos places, s'il vous plaît.
C'est que ça va sortir.
Here we go. Personne.
Bravi, bravissimi, bellissimo, magnifico.
The intensity of the demonstrations at Chaillot eventually shamed the government into reinstating Langlois. However, in The Dreamers, the temporary closure of the Cinematheque allows the young American Matthew to meet the French twins with whom he will form an intense triangular relationship, Theo and Isabelle.
Motore!
/7, take 3.
Action! Fallo guardare a destra, vieni più in qua. Prendilo tra le due, un po' nascosto, troppo in primo. Ok, cut, ferma. Je voudrais quelqu'un un peu plus devant lui. Allora, il biondo, oui, ecco, un peu plus derrière, ah oui, comme ça. Ecco, like that, so you have to, if they're there, you have to look through.
During my casting time, I met Michael Pitt, and I had a kind of resistance to him. And I went for somebody else. And I was wrong, and I felt that almost immediately. I was afraid that Michael could look a bit narcissistic, when in fact he's not at all. He's a very, very fine actor.
What is missing a bit is kind of amusement, because it's fun scene. It's like
I like it because he's really hard on you. He's very perceptive, and with me at least, he doesn't let me. He just doesn't let me do tricks.
You know, you just have to be a lot of energy and excited. You don't know what's going on. Just back from San Diego. And, but it's amusing, you know.
Amusing, like in awe of.
Like you find this scene something a bit fictional, a bit showing off.
In general, what I'm looking for is not exactly a person who just is what is written on the script.
Okay, Michael, go to your place. We do another one.
What is for me very important is the feeling of having in front of me somebody who will keep my camera for the whole time of the shoot. Very curious about him or her.
Bene. Per me è la meglio.
I mean, sometimes it can happen, first meeting you meet who you want. It happened with Louis Garrel. I met him, I knew from his name that he was the son of a director I admire, who was very young in '68 and doing very interesting movies. And so I was curious to meet this guy.
Maybe because my father is a director, maybe because my mother is a director too in theatre, maybe because my grandfather is an actor, the cinema is in my life. So I can realize the passion with the cinema, you know.
Là c'è un caldo, una cosa da Fossa dei Leoni. It's the hottest spot in all Europe.
Took some time to find Eva Green. But there again, when I was in front of her, the first 10 seconds, I think, immediately I felt this is Isabel.
Regarde-moi une fois. Tranquille, c'est très beau.
Eva was never in front of a camera. She was a stage actress, and she had one show with beautiful reviews, but she didn't really know what it does mean be on a set of a film.
Tranquille. Écoute, c'est fini.
I've done some theatre before, and it's quite different. It's more based on improvisation and on your own personality. And I think in the theatre you are your own master, and here you're like a plaything, you know.
10/8, take 3.
Ecco, magari parti un po' più indietro, Luigi. Fanne una un po' meno regolare. Naturalmente l'oscuro oggetto è lei.
They both belong to a kind of French middle class, very culturally alert, in some way very self-conscious. But it was what I was looking for. Kids, decadent and revolutionary.
S'il te plaît. Tu peux enlever ça? Coller à mes lèvres.
Quoi?
Je te demande d'enlever ma cigarette. Elle est collée.
Oh bon, oui, bien sûr.
Aïe.
Because sometimes when you take off a cigarette,
I was very scared to work with him. I was very impressed by his work, but he's very close to the actors. He's very assuring, and at the same time he's very demanding. And he manipulates without manipulating.
You're here allowed to do.
yeah, like that. She changed, she can't talk.
You're here allowed to.
He manages to communicate what he wants with just one look, one hand, one word.
You're chained to the gates.
I'm not chained to the gates. I don't know what to do with them. Because I have to.
Yeah. Pull up and you say, guarda, excuse me. No, don't do it there. You pull up. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not chained. I'm not chained.
Up and don't do it here. Excuse me, do it at the height of your head. Tu le vois dans le cinéma comme le trait, tu le dois faire là, et pas là, sinon je le vois pas.
Là.
Oui, à côté de, pas loin du
Okay,
visage.
I'm not chained the gate. You're awfully clean.
What?
Bernardo is very mysterious, and we never know what he's thinking. You know, he's looking at Lou like that. But I think he's happy. I hope.
Matthew, I think, Matthew, I think, yeah, I think that would be nice. So you here, then in the back, she said, hi, so you go back. then you start speaking and you come here. And when there is some moment of embarrassment, etc., I like if you go like looking up, and then she speaks and you look at back, and you speak even looking at the people here. You to come very close up and she's behind, and then going back.
Yeah.
That echo like
close
like
up. My close up?
Yeah, you come. The camera is here, and you come to have also movement, not only around there, but also coming closer to the camera.
Okay.
My brother's gone to talk to him. When he gets back, you'll be able to smell Jacques on him. It's like being around pigs.
And then can I turn around and stay here for a second?
Yeah.
And then you'll have that.
Very good.
And then you speak English really well.
What?
You speak English really well.
Oh, my mother's English.
Oh, yes, Joe. I'll introduce you, just give him a sniff.
Come on.
As usual, as in all my movies, there is a moment when the written characters and the actors are meeting and becoming the same thing.
Theo, this is Matthew.
And that is the moment which is the most enjoyable, the most exciting.
You were right, he's American.
Hi.
Okay, stand by and quiet.
I remember the joy of shooting my first 5, 6, 7 movies at a speed where you feel that one shot is giving birth to the next one, and to the next one, and to the next one.
Action! Dai, siediti, non fate casino che intorno.
And with Fabio Cianchetti, again, I found that kind of immediacy, you know. Also, it corresponds very much to the way more and more I work with actors. More and more I'm trying to steal their secrets. And to do that, you need not a big machine around you, but something which is very close, in fact, to the simplicity of documentary.
And then when you want to go, don't walk.
My camera moves a lot in all my movies. And with the Steadicam, the quality of the movement is different. It's not pretending to be on rail like a dolly. It's not the hand camera which is moving sometimes too much, which I used a lot when I started to make movies.
Action!
It's a mysterious way of moving. It's more like on wings.
He really just knows how to get everything that you can from one shot. You know, I work my first day, and he says to me, "Okay, fine. We're gonna do this shot. They're gonna push you in the elevator, and then they're gonna run up 3 flights of steps." And I say, "Okay, fine. That's gonna be, 4 or 5 setups." He says, "No, no, no. One shot."
Il faut pas que tu nous attrapes.
In the staircase, we have to run and then got into the apartment and then in the kitchen, just in one shot. You're in the one mood. You don't. It's not broken, you know. So it's great. It's easy.
The main part of The Dreamers takes place in the large apartment where the French twins live.
The apartment is a real character in the film. It lives and breathes. And because so much of the film was taking place in an apartment, and we found a building which was the entire building with a courtyard. So we managed to fit the film crew and the business side of the movie, dressing rooms, makeup rooms, all into one building. It's one floor, one apartment. And you can feel that geography of the apartment a lot in the movie. You can feel the corridors, the way that Bernardo shot those scenes.
This is exactly what I need. The limits of a real place give you ideas to find solutions of the relationship between your camera and the character and the space around, which is in a way organic to this limit.
As usual with Bernardo, each time I show him a set, a part of the apartment, I had to tell a story about the bedroom. What do they do? Where do they sit? What is the life inside each piece of the apartment? We had a lot of discussion, even to choose the photography on the wall. It was very important for Bernardo.
We were basically inside this apartment day after day after day. We had the same 3 actors, basically. A lot of it was closed sets, which tends to mean unclothed sex, and so we were surrounded by these 3 naked, half-naked kids every day, these beautiful bodies.
But why is young people have the stomach so natural? It's all conquered inside. My stomach goes outside. His stomach all of them is a kind of disease. It's a malformation. I don't feel guilty of being over 60s and shooting with young people. I think it would be horrible if there was a law not allowing to do that. In fact, Titian was around 90 and he was going on painting this incredibly fantastic bodies, naked bodies.
Stand by for rehearsal, please.
Can we get into the position, please? Eh? Sporco. Giusto. Ne vedrai le peggio. No, like that was good. And remember to be quite close to him when you speak to him, like that, yeah. I really don't know what I will do in the morning when I go to the set. I have to look around and I have to feel what is going on that special day. There's a certain atmosphere, and I want that atmosphere to be in the film.
38/3
Action. Don't cover. No, I don't see anything. Tu la couvres avec ton visage. Refais-le. Plus de profil. Ecco, vas-y. Ouais. Ouais, comme ça. Bonjour. Good morning. And then you go here again. And you try here, but something doesn't come out, so you go with your tongue. Yeah, with your tongue. Okay.
Good morning.
What is that all about?
I was removing the sleep from your eyes. Theo lets me do his every morning.
Yeah.
My hair should be more messed up, no?
I don't know how when you wake up how you are. Aldo chiedeva se potrebbe essere un pochino più messed up nei capelli. Michael.
In the movies, everyone wakes up pretty and no one ever goes to the bathroom.
And they never go to the bathroom.
No, never.
And when they fuck, they just switch on a fireplace. There is always a fireplace with the flame. Maybe I didn't talk enough about young people when I was young. I wanted maybe to do more, so now I am recouping what I haven't done.
38/1, take 3.
Action.
What is that all about?
I was removing the sleep from your eyes. Theo lets me do his every morning.
This is strange thing to want to do.
Didn't you enjoy it?
Is that supposed to?
Naturally.
Cut. You move too many times. One, I think you should look at yourself. When she opens, you stand up. Yeah, you do a bit like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Second, it wasn't the voice of somebody who is really waking up. Like before you made it.
I need, yeah.
Yeah, I think you can stay up. When she opens, you get a bit up and remain like that, looking at what she's doing. She will start moving from object to object. More complicity. You are within a game now.
Yeah.
The games that the characters play in the film are very much the sort of film buff games that we did play in the 60s. For example, we'd throw out some line, which is clearly from a film, and everybody knew it was from a film, and then the game was who would be the first person to guess where it comes from, that sort of thing.
Queen Christina, where Greta Garbo bids farewell to the room in which she spent the night with John Gilbert.
Bravo!
And this kind of games playing between the two and then eventually between the three characters, this is in fact what the film is all about, because each scene reveals some new facet of their relationship.
Il est bon. I'm right.
C'est ce que je pense.
Quoi?
Bande à part.
Oh, t'as raison.
Why are you two looking at me like that?
Godard's Bande à part has always been one of my favorite films. In fact, I'm nominated one of the 10 greatest films ever made.
You remember the scene where the three of them race through the Louvre?
Vaguely, remind me.
And they try to beat the world record of 9 minutes and 45 seconds.
Oh, yeah, of course, of course.
We're going to beat their record.
Oh.
Cut. Buona.
It seemed to me, given the importance of Godard and the kind of cultish quality of that film, that this is the sort of thing that my three characters would do.
It has to be like in the film. It's just a remake of the film, you know. There I'm quoting the director who is obsessed about quotation. I mean, Godard has been making quotations all the time.
Per favore?
And now I'm shooting the three kids of the Dreamers running through the Louvre. And I'm doing exactly the same shots.
No, Mike!
And 28 seconds. We beat the record by 7 minutes.
The three kids find this fantastic harmony, and they are very, very attracted sexually. It's like if there was a missing piece which has been found. And maybe it's in this generation of young people during the 60s who wanted to transgress, who had to transgress, who had the mission to transgress, to go against the established values. Maybe the missing piece was missing because Theo and Isabel, brother and sister, couldn't go as far as a real incest.
Isabel.
So they needed somebody else.
What? Hey!
I think it's not predictable what happens in the apartment. There is a kind of constant surprise. When the relationship is becoming more and more intense, we see the three kids having bath together in the bathtub and foam and playing and regressing in a way, becoming more childish.
Nope. Stop.
And there's a moment when Matthew, who seemed to be the most naive of the three, in fact, he becomes the one who understands what's going on. He understands that Theo and Isabel, they will never grow up if they go on playing as they have done since they were babies.
You play these little games. I wish you could step out of yourselves and just look.
They have to stop this childish life. And he cannot be with them in that way. That's why I say one way to grow up is to split. The twins have to split.
Would you like to go out on a date with me? Just the two of us. Don't look at Theo. Isabel, you don't need his permission.
Yeah, okay. Matthew, I really would like to go out on a date with you.
Tonight?
All right.
The jukebox is playing the most popular song of the moment. And there they are, playing the most conventional little couple.
Il y aura d'abord, parce que d'abord il y a une petite introduction et tu attends la voix pour venir.
67/1, take 2.
I tell you when, Eva. Action. No, cut.
And cut.
It's too hard when too late.
67/1, take 3.
Action. Alors, je parle russe. Eva Green. You wait for the voice of Françoise Hardy and then you count. The voice, what did I say? The voice, la voce, vox, la voix. Very fun.
Okay, go. Stand by, here we go again.
And quiet. Buoni.
67/1, take 6.
Action.
Tous les garçons et les filles de mon âge se promènent dans la rue par deux. Tous les garçons et les filles de mon âge savent bien ce que c'est qu'être heureux. Et les yeux dans les yeux, et la main dans la main, ils s'en vont amoureux, sans peur du lendemain. Oui, mais moi.
Then they are walking in a kind of empty square, and in a shop in a shop of televisions there is a TV set on, and we can see a bit of what's happening in reality around them, what they haven't in fact seen.
What had begun in March 1968 as a student revolt at Nanterre on the outskirts of Paris, by May had become a nationwide protest against the French political regime. Major factories were closed down by strikes, and in Paris, students occupied the University of the Sorbonne.
For the moment then, calm and even gaiety here with the students back in the university and in complete control of the place. They've even set up their own committees to organize their lectures and what they're going to do next.
The first scene in The Dreamers, depicting the events of May '68, takes place in the courtyard of the Faculty of Medicine. Bertolucci decided that a change of visual style was needed from the enclosed world of the apartment.
I saw myself in that courtyard of the Faculty of Medicine, and I looked a bit around and I understood that we were shooting in a different place, in a special place.
I would like to start with that. I move, and then when I go away.
That's why I decided to do something that in this film didn't really happen often, to go with one shot.
Did you know this? Did you know this song?
It was like pretending to start to shoot in a way that the film is never shot. Kind of a bit of acrobatic movement. The camera is on the crane, then the camera goes down to the almost the close-up of the characters.
Théo! Salut. Ça va? Ça va. Pourquoi t'es pas venu l'autre soir? Excuse-moi, je pouvais pas, je suis désolé. Enfin Théo, qu'est-ce qui t'arrive? On te voit presque plus. Oui, bon. On peut plus compter sur toi. Arrête de me faire chier, Patrick. Non, c'est ça.
And then the cameraman walks out of the crane and starts to walk, and it becomes a Steadicam movement with the characters.
Pauvre type.
Coupé. Pas mal. Bien. Bon.
As the demonstrations in the Latin Quarter became a serious threat to the government, they brought in the CRS, the riot police, just as they had a few months earlier at the Cinémathèque at Chaillot.
This was the first time in France that that generation of young people had actually managed to effect a change. And it may not have seemed a momentous change. It was, after all, the reinstating of a museum curator. But there was something there, a seed that was sown. And there was a sense that this kind of activism could actually succeed.
In '68, I was shooting a movie in Rome, a movie called Partner, which is a movie about what was going on. I was shooting in May '68, in fact, with Pierre Clementi, and I remember that every weekend Pierre Clementi was going back to Paris and was coming back with the new, fresh slogan just invented during that weekend, and with news about what was going on there, how incredible was the sense of freedom. But seen from outside, it's strange, because I didn't feel really part of that movement. I went through that moment of really ferocious need to transgress a few years before '68. So to me, in a way, was already past. I wasn't 20, I was a bit older. I was, I think in '68, I was 27. I remember that my best friends in cinema, like Godard, were very much involved with the little political groups. They were very attracted by Maoism, by the Cultural Revolution.
Well, last time we change every time.
And that created, in some case, some dramatic separation and split from my friends.
If you really believed what you were saying, you'd be out there.
Where?
Out there on the street.
I don't know what you mean.
Yes, you do. There's something going on out there. Something that feels like it could be really important. Something that feels like things could change. Even I get that.
The Latin Quarter after another night of violence. The burnt-out barricades are still in position. The tear gas still hangs in the air.
The main battleground of May '68 was in the Latin Quarter. But for the Dreamers, the production crew had to find an alternative location in the north of Paris.
After '68, the mayor of Paris took everything away because it was too dangerous to give all these bullets to the students. In fact, you can find them only in the rich part of Paris, where is no student at all.
It's very difficult to lock down a location for a long time and to shoot on a street and close down the roads of the main city, especially when you were going to turn over cars and have people throwing paving stones. It took a long time and a lot of persuading of different authorities in Paris that we could do that. It was touch and go really till the last minute, I have to say, although I kept that really, really quiet. It was only after getting a petition and every local person and choosing the date of August 15th when everybody is out of town, that we finally got permission.
When we started to shoot and to put the student, the fire, or the policemen, and it was very, very impressive, and I feel, I don't know, en français, j'avais la chair de poule.
In The Dreamers, a violent demonstration just outside the apartment finally brings the three main characters face to face with the reality of the time.
Theo, Isabel, try not, then I will come closer because of it. This is the only way. I mean, I like you to get lost in this crowd, okay?
Stand by, here we go.
Big camera, Mark.
Action!
1, 2.
They did a wonderful job, but I just thought, no, this is not going to work because there were just elements that seemed to be missing, so crucial to the feel of the look of those events. And then I saw the rushes, and it's amazing. It's what the cinema is all about. Suddenly there it was, and I had this sense of nostalgia, even of déjà vu, which to me is like a lesson in cinema somewhere. I was just assailed by these memories of '68.
Kids today know very little about '68. And I think that Louis was the one who has been more influenced by his background.
When I was younger, I got a dream to remake my '68 and in a movie.
Coupé.
And I read the script and I saw it's about my '68. My dream is realized.
C'est la lutte finale,
Ok.
Pour nous.
Ok.
Et demain, l'international sera le genre humain.
One day I was saying, I would love so much to throw a Molotov bottle against the police. And that was it in the script, and I let him say it, and then time passed. And then I felt that to make strong and more violent the difference between Matthew and the French twins, the idea of Louis Garrel of throwing a Molotov cocktail was a great idea.
C'était pas une très bonne idée. Je vais plus le faire.
He was grateful to me while I was grateful to him, and it was really this kind of exchange that there is in my way of shooting.
1113/6, take 5. Big camera, Mark.
Action! Partez, action!
By the summer of 1968, after the country had been brought to a standstill, the trade unions made agreements with the government, and the student revolt eventually fizzled out.
But maybe these kids were dreaming of something absolutely impossible, and thank God it didn't happen in some way. They were, and so they considered the 68 a lost war.
I know in my generation, a lot of people want to kill this myth about May 68.
There's very little fiction about the 60s. There's very little cinema about the 60s. Even in France, it's amazing. It's almost like a kind of self-censorship. And I think it's high time that we rehabilitate May 68 and February 68 as well.
Now everybody can go home. There is nothing to look at.
I know that I am in that phase of my life when I'm sure that shooting keeps me alive, very alive, makes my life much more full and passionate. And so I think that the only way is to start today a new film. The only way to survive.